Hello Cheers, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Yeah, it's a pop-up one again. The update we've got on the Hornesse this time, stroke Nashorn, nothing at all has happened with this part of the build. It's just there just to remind people, because there are people that haven't watched any of the, this build going along, so it's just to say this is what it's all about for. So it's Nashorn with the late war camouflage. Now I've painted the 3 crew. The video is actually more to introduce another little buddy for the Nashorn, but we'll look at these, or we should say Mara on this channel really, shouldn't we? Here we've got the vehicle commander. I've done his binos, so his binoculars, in the Dunkelgelb, because sometimes they're black and sometimes they're in this like sandy Dunkelgelb type colour. I've given him Panzertruppen trousers. They're not supposed to be the leather ones that some of the tank crews wore. I know these aren't tank crew, I'm just saying, it's just you've got to explain yourself really sometimes. People say, oh, they're leather trousers. No, they're supposed to be Panzertruppen trousers. Let's get a bit closer if we can. I did the old trick of mixing a bit of flesh tone, on medium flesh I believe, in with the black, and then just put some flesh tone literally on top. You wouldn't do it that bright, obviously, in a 1 in 35 scale figure, or even a 28mm figure, but it just needs a bit lighter just to lift them, especially as they're going to be inside the fighting compartment of the Hornesse. So yeah, I've given him the red piping, I believe, for the Panzer Jaeger, is it? I've given him some grey woolen gloves, or bluey grey, just to try. They are a bit different from the grey. So not much to say. I mean, they're simple figures, but they're a hell of a lot better than I can sculpt. We'll go into that in a minute. So yeah, so that's the commander. You get 3 crew with it, and to be honest with you, when you buy these sprues, it's not necessary that the guy that sold this actually put these in with them. I don't know if you buy the same sprue, I don't know if you'd get the crew with it, so just bear that in mind. You may have to buy, there's plenty of sprues out there separately. It's just going to cost you, obviously, another, I think they go for around £1 in the UK, about £1.50, but then they'll normally charge about £1.50 for postage. Crew member all in grey this time, in relaxed pose. As Corporal Jones would say in Dad's Army, a nonchalant and on hip. The only thing I haven't done is I've made that full red there. I've just seen it great. You put a blooming video on and you notice, so that it just needs to be piping on those shoulder boards there. They need to have an infill. So yeah, but giving him all grey. I've tried to do. Did I do it on that? Yeah, you can just see some little Waffenarb on his collar there, and a little button on the top. Is it Feldmutz? Sorry to my German Maras who I'm butchering your language. I don't mean to. Again, it's not shoulder boards. My life used to wear them all the time. I can't remember, but the epaulets, whatever, they need to be filled in slightly. So I've gone. It's easier sometimes with piping, rather than try and draw the piping round the outside. It's better to put that as the base colour and then put your central infill colour, in this case of grey or black, whichever it's going to be. I've given him a Panzertruppen black Feldmutz. It's just to show a bit of difference, that's all. Obviously he's got the working parts of the 88mm, so he'll be stuck on the side of that. I've put it back, but I will embarrass myself with me one and only figure so far. That's my attempt. So, oh well. Gloves on. I can get away with chunky there. The little white strip is that these are reversible if guys aren't into World War II military. It's a splinter pattern jacket, and it can be reversed into a white winter one. So and quite often you'd see the white of the material push out from under the cuffs, and it would normally be, if it's not buttoned right up, the white's often showing as like a slash of colour across the top there, and then there's usually two white. They wouldn't be that stark white, but two whites, and they're way too long really. I overdid that, and they're just tighteners for the hood. I tried to put him a fag in his hand there, cigarette if you're outside the UK. It didn't really work. You can see the white in the top of the hood there. He's got his radio earpieces on. Not brilliantly. They do normally stick out more out the sides, I think. What went wrong with his with his pistol? I think I was faffing around and must have put my finger too close at the time, and squashed it a bit. And I did try and rebuild it. These are all, as you can see, green stuff. So this was the original one, Chunky Monkey here, who ate all the pies. This is number 2. This was going to be number 3. As you get into some alien type, that was the other night. It just did not go. That was a night of, things weren't working that night, so waste of time. We'll go back to him. This is still haven't filled this figure in yet, as he's like some zombie pose. Oh well, we'll keep trying. What does it say? Heaven loves a trier, something like that. I do apologise if you hear the dogs barking and stuff going on in the background. Windows are all open. Right, this is what I wanted to actually show you. Get it right. There is a photographs at the bottom. I've got another sprue. This was about £4. SDK have said 250 alt recce. The small, short, cut-off version. German half-track, in other words. We've got our exhaust, a convoy light. I thought a great track detail again. Got our side bins, small grill on there, which I wouldn't change because I'd have to try and find some photo etch. I say what I'm thinking of doing with this one. Got to have the door open again. I just love playing around. Now I've found. I mean, I'm doing the 1 in 35 scale Jeep as well. I just find these really interesting to do a bit of scratch building on. I don't have to get sucked in too deep. What am I talking about? I've done all that with the Hornesse. I'm introducing another vehicle to the scene, and I've decided to try and build a house after all because I've reintroduced a vehicle to the scene. But anyway, so I'm thinking of opening the door at the back, opening the engine compartment maybe, and making a little engine for the inside, just scratch building one. Obviously this piece here goes on, the vision blocks go on the top there. I'm wondering if I didn't have much, I've got to do that Oshimuru blue stuff again and see if I can cast one of these tyres and maybe put it, I have seen the odd one carry one on the front, maybe probably for extra protection. Inside, I'm not sure, I haven't done my research yet, I'm not sure what this is, I'll be frank. I don't know if it's just a stowage bin or what. There's not a lot of detail, as you can see. We've got one strap going down there, ejector pin mark which have to be removed. Obviously you get it oversized. I keep saying to it, just but in case people don't know, this is from made by the New Zealand company Battlefront, and for their Flames of War game, 15mm or 1 in 100 scale. So what I'm saying is it's built to game with, but they are really fun and projects. They don't. I say this cost me £4 including the postage, and I can get a week or two's fun out of just not doing as much probably. I don't know if I'm on about doing a bit of an engine in there, but obviously that you haven't got as much to go on as you will have with the Hornesse, because that's obviously a large vehicle and this is tiny. But I fancied doing a half track, and the Alt was the only one that was on, people were putting up for sale on eBay at the time. Because you know what they do, they break the boxes open and sell the sprues. Well, obviously it's cost effective probably to buy a box, but a box costs you 20 odd pound plus, and it's just not worth it for me. I'm just happy faffing, they go the blinds, faffing around with one, one little sprue's fine for me. And I say I've got that Mark 1 Tiger coming as well at some stage, which I'll do probably for Normandy. So what I was going back to is, like, you can see the checker plate on the floor there. Yeah, it's chunky, but it's fine, as I say, anybody that fancies, I mean, the actual, the full-on Flames of War gamers aren't going to want to do with the scratch building and stuff, because it would fall apart in their hands when they come to game it, and they don't have enough time to put in on that type of thing. But if you're a modeler or somebody, wargamer, that just wants to take one of these and just raise it up just for a bit of fun, and they really are great little projects. I'll probably be swearing and everything when I come to try and do this even smaller one, but hopefully it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, it's going to be late war, so we're looking Operation Northwind, around Alsace area, just below the Bulge, and it will be done in late war camo and things like that. I forgot to say, if you didn't know, armament on these guys, you can do, it's got 2 MG42s, as you can just about see there, one on a pintle mount that goes on the side. This guy goes in one of these shields here, or you can have the 30, I think it's the 37mm door knocker, if it is the door knocker, which is the early war German anti-tank gun, 37mm. They called it a door knocker because, to be honest with you, that's as much as it was good for taking on enemy armour anyway. Even in the early war period, the German Lancer, as nickname for German soldier, they weren't particularly impressed with it. So Germans didn't always get it brilliantly right, but I'm leaning maybe towards doing just the MGs. But of course, you know me, that might change. So thanks a lot for stopping by and taking a look. I won't say it's a quick one, because knowing me, it's probably gone on for about 15 minutes. There'll be a couple of photographs of the painted figures at the end and the sprues, if anybody wants to obviously just go and look at that. Quick question. I doubt many people will answer it, because either through not knowing or more likely skipping the video, and that's not a popping at anybody. It's just a fact of life on YouTube. I've been collecting for as we do when I go on the heathland with Archie for a walk. I'm always picking up roots of fallen trees, and I don't mean the giant ones, but obviously smaller ones that I can use for mainly 1 in 35 scale figures, and I just keep them in a box, and then I can make real trees out of them, if that makes sense. I've been picking the moss up. We've got loads of that moss, and it's fantastic for, I say fantastic, I've not used any yet, but it's good to replicate evergreen foliage, conifer trees that they've hacked off and thrown over, hung off from the wires. Well, I was watching, I'll say it was Rick Lawless of the Propaganda channel. You should go and check Rick out if you haven't done so. He's 1 in 35 scale mainly, modeler of mainly army, does a few bits and pieces either side of that, but I believe it was him. It may not have been so. Rick will never watch this, but I apologise to him if it's not. He was using the, is it MiG or AK? I think it might be AK, like glycerine solution for you put it on your foliage, the natural foliage you pick off the ground, and it doesn't preserve the colour, but it stops it going crumbling away. Well, I've got some picked moss already, so it's going to be no good for that. But it wasn't all crumbly, because I tried it on the side, just put it with some tweezers and put it on the side of the Hornesse, and it looked really good in its natural. I mean, I'm going to paint it, but for scale wise it looked really good. And obviously you can use it in 1 in 35 scale, just get bigger pieces. But has anybody used that AK glycerine? Is it, because I always have to watch the pennies, since the guys just paid £4 for that, when I could have paid probably £4 or £5 for the glycerine. Anyway, Is it any good? Is it worth me adding to my shopping list? Or am I okay just using my old moss that I pick off and just, which I was going to do, just spray it green, highlight it, and then spray a varnish over the top? So if anybody does watch this video and has any knowledge on that, would they just pop a comment, if you wouldn't mind, please, if you've got any advice on that front. Right, thank you very much. I shall get back to, what am I getting back to, Gav? Oh yeah, I was going to do the day job, do a bit of figure painting on Napoleonics. So I'm going to paint, do some painting on Napoleonics. I've got some progress on the Jeep. I was putting the engine together last night. Very impressed actually, and because if you remember, I did the Meng, the Beatles sent, no, not them Beatles, but Mr. and Mrs. Beatles sent me the first Meng full interior kit, which I completely botched. The second one I almost botched, and it was just about got there. And it really put me off Meng, and I know that they're really good. But because of the problems I had putting the FT17 together for myself and my skill level, I've shied away from it. But this is, the Jeep's Meng, and apart from, as I say, I wasn't impressed with the giant Meng logo stamped into or stamped in, is it relief? Yeah, as it sticks up on the back, and the multiple. I could deal with the multiple ejector pin marks. As I say, it's a nice little tub. They had to fling it out of the thing, but apart from that, I'll tell you what, guys, for 22 quid, and I looked on eBay because I wouldn't get one at the moment, but I might get one just to chuck in the stash again, because Jeeps are always handy for dioramas and stuff. For £22, and for someone at my skill level, it's a really, so far, bearing in mind I've only stuck engine bits together, but it's even, they've engineered it where you can't get it. Classic Gav sticking it round the wrong way, upside down, and all the rest of it. At the moment I'm recommending it. Give the engine, once you get past those injector pin marks in the tub and the sanding, and it's softish plastic, not soapy plastic, but softish enough that you can clean those away. The injector pin marks they're deep and they're in really crappy places to reach to, but at the end of the day, they're there, and presume you'd want to get them out of the way, but once they're down on a little base, you're never going to see them. So probably beating myself up more than I need to, but anyway, I'll just throw that in. So I'm doing more on the Jeep tonight, probably. So thank you very much. Anyway, I'm doing it again, aren't I? So there'll be another Hornesse update, hopefully, with figures stuck in, and I've got to go back to doing those 88mm shells. I'd got the shape. I was really chuffed with the shape. You watch, I won't be able to do that again now, but I just thought they were a bit on the thick side, and they might need just reducing slightly. So I'm going to have a go on some more, and somehow just stick a bit of stowage on, just because I can, just because I'm loving this project, hence the Hannah Mag here. So thank you very much. Look after yourselves. Hope this little thing was interesting to somebody. Yes, it's only a yellow sprue, but it's what you can make of that little yellow sprue. As I say, £4. If you get a bit of plasticard, and away you go. If there's anything to do in here, I've not been looking at any interior shots yet. As I say, I don't think there'll be a lot to do on the interior. I'll do a steering wheel probably, and look at the bench there, because it's just a bench shape, and some were just towards the end, they were just like park benches almost. There was no like horsehair stuffed covering or something like that. I do need to know what this is though. I'll have to look that up. If anybody does know what this is, I'd be interested to know. They've got some type of line down it, and it's not a mould line. So anyway, look after yourselves again, and we'll speak soon. Of course we will, on another video.